So what's on the agenda?
So on the agenda, we have a bit of entertainment. We're going to talk about Loki. We're going to have that clip actually as part of our ZZ Talk reviews clips that we normally do. But we decided that we want it as part of our podcast episode as well. So, a bit of a different take on that.
Bit of, you know what? It will be this will be the official first episode of the Loki review series that we do.
Mm-hmm.
But it is also going to be basically a preview for any of those who have only listened to us on podcasts to go and check us out on the YouTube for the reviews, because the rest of the reviews will be exclusively on YouTube.
Yeah, so please check out ZZ Talk, Zino, and Zeus on YouTube. That's ZINOZEUS. And, I'm sure you'll find our channel. It's not that hard. And then look for the reviews playlist. We've done it for WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier, and we're going to keep doing it for Loki. All right, so we're going to do that. And then we're going to talk a little bit about a trailer that took place while we were on hiatus, which is the Eternals trailer. Just our basic thoughts on it. And then we have a story about Julio Jones signing with the Tennessee Titans.
Why believe me?
Right. So what's our reaction to that? You kind of see what Zeus is there. And then we're going to talk about the Atlanta Hawks being in the second round of the Eastern Conference playoffs, how they're looking, and that sort of thing. And then there's a story that happened today in the Euro 2020. Even though it's 2021, it's still branded as Euro 2020. So we're going to touch on that. And we're going to wrap up with a little topic about billionaires. And
it's still going to be entertainment.
Their aspirations. Yes, it's going to be in the entertainment space. So yeah, that's our show. You ready to begin?
Let's begin our show.
Okay, yes. So Julio to the Titans. What were your thoughts when that happened?
So you heard me just a second ago just go it's honestly, I didn't think I would ever see Julio Jones in another jersey. I really didn't. And I actually think that the Titans will actually do worse to me than the Falcons. So he's not going into a better situation, but he is moving into a situation that he wants, which I get. Right?
Do you feel like they'll do worse because of strength of schedule, or like you just don't think they are as far ahead of the Falcons?
The offensive coordinator that they have is not Arthur Smith, who is now our head coach, right? He's not. No, and what I mean by that is even he admits that he's not Arthur Smith. Arthur Smith is going to prove, I think, and this is my hope, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to prove that he's actually an offensive genius. And the reason why is because he doesn't make his players mold to the offense.
Mm-hmm.
He makes the offense mold to the players, right? Because a lot of people are like, he's a lot like Shanahan. I was like, I actually think he's better than Shanahan.
Okay.
Because and you can see it from how Shanahan has been with the he's 2017, so that's 4 or 5 seasons. This is the 5th season, right?
This coming one will be the 5th, yes.
He's only had 1 winning season. Yeah, he went to the Super Bowl and lost it, but he only has had 1 winning season. All the other seasons he's lost. Why? Is because 2019?
Mm-hmm.
Or 2019, everything was in place for them to be a winning team.
Yeah.
It took them 3 years to get there. They lost it a year later. You know?
You don't feel like he's able to adapt to
I don't. I think his players have to adapt to him and his offense. You saw what happened with us. It took us 2 years for it to sync with the Falcons. Matt Ryan had a bad year, but then he had a bounce back year. Yeah, once it clicks, it works. But it's not the same. Arthur Smith, though, he played to the strengths and allowed what's it called? Because remember, he molded the offense as time went because Derrick Henry was the reason why they made it so far, all the way to they made it to the AFC Championship. Yeah, against the Patriots. Because they beat. This was 2018, I think.
Tennessee?
or was it the 17th?
Because
I forget which year it was. I honestly forget which year it was. But remember, because they beat the Baltimore Ravens.
okay, yeah, I remember
the
that.
year the Baltimore Ravens were the #1 seed.
Yeah.
Which would have been 2000.
Yeah, they lost in the it wasn't the AFC Championship. It was the game before that, the divisional round.
I'll verify that in a second, but I remember
Okay.
because I remember they beat somebody, and then I remember I went on a Facebook group and I was like, "Do you guys think they might beat the Baltimore Ravens?" And I was like, "Yeah, right." And then they beat the Baltimore Ravens and they went to the Super Bowl and they went to the AFC Championship. That's what I remember. I think it was the year. What year has Tom Brady not been in the Super Bowl?
So obviously not this one and not the previous year. So the year before that was 2019.
Well, anyways,
So the 2018 season.
well, anyway, like Derrick Henry really came into his own at the end of that one season, right? Which was when Arthur Smith finally started making his play be the way that he needed it to be. Then the next year, guess what happens? Derrick Henry didn't get found out. You know what I mean? Like, you know how whenever somebody has like a breakout, and then the next year everybody has a full offseason to kind of get adjusted to his game.
Yeah.
And the next year it's not as good. The next year his season was just as good.
Yeah. You're right, by the way. It was the 2019 season, so the 2020 playoffs, they lost the AFC Championship to the Chiefs.
To the Chiefs, right. That's right. That's the year that the Chiefs went to. Okay. So it's just kind of like I feel like Arthur Smith is a much better offensive coordinator in that sense because he will mold the offense to him. And I don't think that the Tennessee Titans have that. And also I heard their defense is even worse than ours this year. They might be. But look, Tannehill is great. I'm glad he had a career comeback year. And honestly, he probably should have had the comeback. Was he the comeback player of the year?
He won it that season that they were in the AFC Championship game.
And it was thanks to Arthur Smith. And don't get me wrong, I don't think he'll fall back because I think he finally got his confidence, but he won't be as successful. And he's not. I know they say that, by the way, that whole Julio Jones wants to go where there's a big arm quarterback. BS. Like, he never said that because the guy who actually said that admitted he had no sources. So basically, he took it out of thin air.
Yeah.
So there's no beef with Jones and Matt Ryan, I don't think. I just think
people just
Julio
like
Jones
having
is
a
probably
story.
just done with mediocrity.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let me give you my reaction to the whole Julio Jones thing. It was more of a "I told you so" type of thing, and not in the "I told you that Julio is going to leave." More in the "I told you Julio should leave." And if you remember one of our very early episodes, where I think we were 0-4 at the time in the season, and I was like, because I told you that I saw a post on that Atlanta Bird Gang group where someone was like, we should trade Julio Jones, and everyone was like getting on his case. They're like, are you stupid, this and that? And I saw it, and I told you on the show that it's actually not a bad idea. Because,
and I think I told you were a stupid man.
Because the thing is, at that point in the season, we knew, because we watch Atlanta Falcons every day, every week, and we follow the news every day.
I watch it about every day.
Yeah. So we knew that Julio wasn't 100% as far as like injury wise. We know that when Julio is healthy and all that stuff, he's probably the best in the league. But we knew he wasn't 100%. The rest of the league didn't necessarily know that. I was like, this would be the best time to trade him because you can still get at least a first rounder, plus for Julio.
At that time, yeah.
Yes, in letting the whole season play out and letting everyone see that Julio could be an injury problem for whatever team he goes on to, I think that reduced the amount of leverage the Atlanta Falcons had. Yeah. Which is, so
evident by the way how long it took, and
Yeah, because at the end of the day, and I know hindsight is 2020, right? Like, one could be like, well, how would we know that we were gonna end up 4-12? Is that 4-12? That's what we ended up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. One could be like, well, how do we know we were gonna end up 4-12? Well, we might not have known that, but we did know that we were 0-4.
And it's hard as hell to come back from a deficit like that in football. That's a whole quarter of football.
The season was essentially a lost cause at that point. Make the deal, you know. And I know people were talking about cap space and all that stuff. So yes, it is a bit of hindsight that we traded him anyway. Why didn't we trade him back when we were 0-4? But
so my question to you is, what is your sorry, music is playing in the background. No, what is your review of the actual trade? Like, how do you rate
so what did they get for Julio?
Okay, so this is what, and I'm going off the top of my head, but I know that we got a second rounder for next year, right? Okay. I believe there's a third and a fourth rounder from 2023. Maybe even another rounder within this year, and then they got Julio Jones. And then, you know what? Let's find out the terms, because I'm gonna tell you right now, a lot of people are hating on it, hating on the actual like trade. I'm not. I actually think we got a lot more out of it than we could have.
So it says in exchange for Jones, the Titans will send a 2022 second round draft pick and a 2023 fourth round draft pick to the Falcons. Along with Jones, the Falcons will send a 2023 sixth round to the Titans. The deal is pending a physical.
Yeah. And then the big part, which why I say the Falcons won, they have to eat the $7 million in dead cap space this year. But of course, that opened up 15-16 million for them to use now to be able to pay their rookies. Because somebody was like, trading Julio Jones doesn't make your team better. I was like, yeah, but being able to sign your rookies does. Being able to sign all your draft picks definitely does, And then next year they have to pay the $15 million in dead cap too, right? But after that, they don't at this moment, Julio Jones is the only dead cap money that they have. Okay. Because we were still playing for Trufant this year. And then forgot what other players were playing they paid for it, but I know Trufant was up there. And not Jacob Tamme. No, that would be way too long. But there's a few other players, right, that was a dead cap. The problem was Terry Fontenot came in over the cap. He had to maneuver that. That was his biggest challenge. Retaining Julio Jones wasn't his biggest challenge. Getting under the cap was his biggest challenge, because they're like, the way I think it should look is the coach is the one that has to overcome losing Julio Jones, right? So it's up to Arthur Smith to figure out my offense this way. By the way, have you ever seen any of his interviews on thing?
I've seen a couple. Yeah,
he's kind of Bill Belichick in the case where he's like, I'm not gonna answer the questions that I just don't need to answer.
Well, I like one where he said that I'm not gonna say that this is exactly what he said, but something like to the effect of, well, I don't care about a player I never coached.
Yeah, exactly what they say. He said, yeah. And then there was another one which cracked me up, is because there was one guy trying to go hard at him, and he talked about it on Twitter, and I was like, you just came off like a jackass more than anything. But he said something about, they were being snippy, and then Arthur Smith was like, well, you can come and see it here at training camp. He was like, well, training camp, the journalist was like, training camp is optional for us. Optional is too. He's like, oh, well, you can get somebody else to give you some notes. And like, he was like, I'm not gonna come here because they kept asking about Julio Jones, about what do you say about this? What do you say about that? And he's like, I'm not gonna comment on a player's conversation with me and myself. Like, that's between me and him. Yeah. So anyways, honestly, my honest review on this trade, I don't think the Tennessee Titans were ripped off, because Julio Jones is Julio Jones.
Yeah.
But I definitely think that the Falcons came out with a steal.
Yeah,
I think they stole this trade.
The Titans are taking a gamble that if we can get, like 10, 12 healthy games with Julio, that's 10 to 12 games that we have every right to win. Right. So it's a good gamble for them to take. There's no reason not to. Actually,
he's with a good coach. Like Vrabel, is it Vrabel? Yeah, he's a great coach. He really is. He's a really good coach. So he's in good hands. He's not bad. But one of my friends was telling me, he was like, yeah. So Are you going to root for them, the Titans, because Julio Jones? I was like, I don't root for any other team that's not a Falcons.
Yeah, I don't root for other teams. There are other players that I might like, and like I like for them to succeed. But if they're playing the Falcons, I'm rooting for the Falcons for sure. Yeah. So
I'm of the opinion of man, Julio Jones is still the man. You know, he's still a GOAT.
He's gonna get into the Ring of Honor, like when his career is said and done.
Anymore, so I'm not rooting for your team. But if Julio Jones makes, it'll kind of be like this: like when the Bucks won the Super Bowl, I dislike that they won the Super Bowl, obviously, because they're our rivals, or one of our rivals, not our main rival, but they are one of our rivals. But I was happy that Bruce Arians finally won a ring.
Yeah.
And I honestly was like, a guy like Mike Evans deserves to have a Super Bowl ring. A guy like Julio Jones deserves to have a Super Bowl ring too, though. So,
Exactly. No, I mean, and it's not even just NFL. It's across a lot of sports like that, right? I don't know if it was you I was talking to about this, or my conversations like bleed into each other.
Right.
But like I was talking to someone, anyone who's like a fan of soccer knows of the whole. Who's a fan of the Premier League knows that the big story right now is that Harry Kane wants to leave Tottenham. Now, Harry Kane is, I think, Tottenham's top scorer, like all time. And he consistently scores over 25 goals per season, which is a crazy rate. If he plays his career out in the Premier League, I think he will end with the goal scoring record. But he's been playing with Tottenham this entire time, and Tottenham is famous for not winning jack.
Championships, yeah.
Ever. Not the Premier League, not the FA Cup, not the League Cup, which they squandered this year. Nothing. And finally, he was just like, I'm going to go somewhere else. Yeah, and I think there were a bunch of Tottenham fans who were like, yeah, we get it. Honestly, like you've given us.
We're not gonna be upset at you.
Yeah, we get it. And it was just like Kevin Durant in the NBA gave 9 seasons to OKC without winning anything, and then that final one that he played with them, where they were up 3-1 in the Western Conference Final, and Golden State came back and beat them in it. I think at that point Durant was like, "Look, man, I've given all my all to this team. I can't win it."
I get that, but. That's like going.
I know people want to be like, well, why are we getting on
now? If he gets
for
one
building
with
super teams
with the Brooklyn Nets,
then
I'm gonna be like, you deserve that one, because that's technically is a super team.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like a super team the same way that the Lakers happened or
or
LeBron
the Warriors that time,
Miami, right? And all that stuff. So
yeah. So the thing about there's another one that just keeps flying around. The thing about the KD thing for me when he first moved to Golden State was that people want to be like, well, we get mad at LeBron for taking his talents to South Beach and doing this and that, and I'm like, yeah. Because LeBron is actively saying that, okay, hey, this best player from this team, come here. Best player from this team, come here. We're all going to. Whereas Kevin Durant, yes, he was going into a team that had already just won a championship the year before.
Yeah.
But it's a team that wasn't built as a super team. They were all drafted. They drafted Curry. They drafted Thompson. They drafted Green. I think Iguodala came from the Sixers. But other than that, they were drafting people. This wasn't a LeBron-style super team, right?
Yeah.
So, I was like, KD gave his all to OKC. If he wants to go win a title somewhere, go do it.
Yeah. So